Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I may say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men follow reader. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
We're back at Gloves Off. I'm Professor Buitrón, and I'm here with Mayor Betty Flores, who is now a candidate for the Laredo City Council District. How we doing, Mayor? You good?
I'm doing really well, Paul, and I really appreciate you having me on.
No, you know, I've told you this before, and I'm saying this. Thank you for standing up. It takes a special person to stand up and try to guide the community in a positive way, actually in a public official capacity. But we're in the middle of the campaign. Tell us the new things that are going on with your campaign, and also let's touch base on what the constituents' needs are, what you've seen.
All right, thank you. It's been exciting, really, because I know the residents are very, very intent on, they're not sure about their jobs, some of them, and they're worried about that. And then the other thing is that a lot of the children are tired of not having a place to go. You know, they can't have activities at school for the most part, and then they can't have activities in our parks. And so they're worried about that. And they really want to have a good skate park with concrete. They want to have better lighting. They want to have sidewalks, at least right now, so they can go walking, you know, and in the cool evenings that we've been having. And those are the residents, because they're really worried about that. And I'll touch on traffic in a minute. But the other thing is that I've been talking to the businesses out there, and the businesses are really, really trying to go by the protocols that the city has set up, you know, to prevent this pandemic. And it's really outstanding to me. I mean, you walk into any business out there and they have the disinfectant, they're all wearing masks. I think it's amazing and wonderful that people have gone out of their way to keep us safe and yet let us have access to their products. One of the things that I heard from a lot of the truck drivers that not only live there but work there is that they are not getting enough federal agents to work not only at the bridge, but at the checkpoints. And so what that does, it causes interruption of the flow of traffic, believe it or not. And the flow of traffic is very important for congestion and for the chaotic traffic that sometimes we see. Laredo is unique in the fact that it has the short-term haul, and the long-term, the long haul. There are trucks that come in from Chicago and other places to pick up and leave. And then there are trucks that constantly cross the bridge to bring goods and to send goods to be taken up by the long haul. So there's got to be a discussion on how we're going to move these trucks. In fact, a few minutes before we joined, the police department sent out an advisory that on 1472 and 255, there was an accident. And so that part of 1472 was closed. So, you know, we can't have that because that disrupts people's lives. And there's got to be better ways and safer ways. Now, I've been working with the Regional Mobility Authority, and I've studied what they're trying to do and trying to fund. And I think it's excellent, and it's going to work to move some of this traffic away from where the residents are moving. And the only thing we need to do is concentrate on acquiring the federal funding, something that I'm really good at. And I want to do that for this community because it's so, so, so important. So, you know, these are things that sometimes we don't focus on, but they're there, their existence. And I know that I can help because I know this business. In fact, I was very proud Paul, to be endorsed by the Laredo Motor Carriers Association. And, you know, those are strong, strong businesses that are really trying to survive and do well for Laredo to keep Laredo up. They're Laredo-born businesses. Also, all the Mexican custom brokers, they're all Laredo-bred businesses. And there's a lot of custom brokers that are coming into the community, and there's big chains coming in. And we have to protect our Laredo-bred businesses. Why? Because they're the ones that started here. They're the ones that employ the people. And employment is very different, and that's what they're worried about. In fact, the motor carriers told me that it's very hard nowadays to find chauffeurs, to find people that'll drive their trucks. They're having a big situation with that. And if you see in the Business Journal, what you see is CDL positions open because people don't want to do the long haul anymore. So there's got to be a way, and I'm involved with a group of people that want to shorten those long haul by transferring and transferring and transferring. So we've, you know, there's a lot of situations, there's a lot of things that I can help in this community, both the residents that need all these things and the business section that needs all these things. I can help. I've been in business for a very long time. I understand business, and I also understand the government side and how the government side can help with incentives.
Absolutely. You know, those are some great topics you brought forth. And I think one of the things that we need to look at, especially right now, since we have a lack of CDL drivers, where are they get their training? Maybe if God wills you and you're the next council person inside that district, maybe we talk to some of the tech schools that specifically are geared truck driving to see if they can come down to Laredo and start teaching here and open up a branch for us to get that out of the way, because we need that. Those are schools that we need to have come to Laredo. Not only why, because they teach our workforce, right?
Yes, yes. And you know, that's a very good.
And that's number one. Now, on the second check, on another note, you were also endorsed by the Laredo Firefighters Chief, correct?
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Why? Because when I look at the Laredo firefighters, I see families and I see first responders. I see people that are protecting our community. And I know about the training that they have to go through, and even the pre-training, that the qualifications that they have to earn to really become a firefighter, and then to stay in shape to be sure that they can respond to any emergency. You know, Paul, we have a training center that is like no other kind in the entire world, because it is bilingual, and we can teach anybody in the entire world that has the languages that we speak in Laredo. Those are amazing things that we have in Laredo, and we owe it all to the dedication of these first responders. So
Sure.
When people say, oh, the firefighters, hey, the firefighters are going to save your life. I know we've been
You know, and on
family. You know that my husband's brother, unfortunately, when he was taken to the hospital, when the ambulance got there, the ambulance, the stretcher was not working right. And it took them a few minutes to adjust the stretcher. So when we talk about the firefighters' budget, if we don't have the best ambulances, if we don't have the best equipment, one of these days we're going to need it. And think about the spills. Think about how many things come into Laredo. If we're not prepared for those spills and that cloud that comes because of that, we'll be in a lot of trouble. So just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. We have to be careful. So I'm very, very proud, and I thank the families of the firefighters for endorsing me and for block walking for me and for putting up signs for me. They really are working hard, Paul, and I appreciate them.
You know, our first responders, especially here in Laredo, now it's let's go to it because they're always there and they don't care what sexual orientation you are, religion, what God prayed to, what political belief you have. They're going to go there and they're going to give 150% on the first responders, police as well. Our first responders, when they get to the scene of the crime, they give it their all.
That's right.
Okay? And that is needed. And that is needed. And people need to understand that we need to always keep them. And you said something real good. You said something about funding. And see, we have to fund them correctly because something happens, the equipment's not right, it goes down, okay? And that happens with some of the negotiations. They'll raise the salary and they defund the equipment.
Yes.
You have to bring the equipment up to par and make it that all the equipment on everybody is up to par and their training is up to par. You know, the first thing goes is training. The firefighters do have a training center here. The police do not. So we need to make sure that they have training adequate for the situation that they're in.
Well, let me tell you.
And above being adequate. Adequate's not even okay.
The training facility that you mentioned is actually called firefighter and law enforcement training. So the law enforcement can also train at that facility. I mean, I'm inviting you to go. I'm sure the firefighters would love for you to go because of your expertise, you would be amazed at the kinds of training that they can perform there. It is amazing. And
we've been way back in, we were a while ago, a colleague of mine is actually the assistant fire chief in Paris,
great.
France, came down, okay? In fact, he is right here on this one, named Silva Style. So he is the actual deputy fire chief of France, and he came here and we went over there. This is years ago, and he was impressed with everything that was going on. And I think he brought them a helmet that they use because in France they use like a stainless steel chrome helmet, and he gave one at that time. So it's great to have that. We need that. You see,
yes, we do.
Laredo was doing this.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is at that time, Laredo was moving up. Somewhere in the last couple of years, it's done this. Yes. And we have to be careful because little shaking can put us down, can make us go up. And people now, they're going to say, you know what, as a community, stand and say, we're not going to lose Laredo. No. We have to make Laredo stand proud again.
That's why I say, Paul, that, I always say we need young people, we need young blood, we need, new ideas, people that are prepared. And there's a lot of young people that are prepared. But in this instance, in this time in our community, I looked at what was going on and I said, wait a minute, this is not the time for a learning curve. This is not the time to put somebody in there that is going to have to be an amateur for a long time and let this community, especially District 7, Laredo is on the verge of many great opportunities. And guess what? District 7 is the leader. So I want to be part of that so that with my experience, I can move it ahead. That's the only reason I'm in this. I want to help and I want to serve, and I know I can. Otherwise, I would have not even attempted this, because like I said, I believe in new blood. I believe in people getting their feet wet, but now is not the time.
Absolutely. What have, besides those business concerns and those concerns there, what are the residents' main concern right now besides the job?
The residents worry about the traffic, as you know. It's very chaotic and they're worried about it. And I think that there are plans right now that are going to be funded, and I'm going to be sure that they get funded to alleviate that traffic. We're going to figure it out. But we have the most beautiful neighborhoods in all of these districts. In this district, if I know you can't see that map behind me, but I study it all the time. We have some of the oldest neighborhoods and we have some of the newest neighborhoods in Laredo. And with that, we have to figure out how do we help each one separately. You know, there's a place off of Chicago Street, Markley and Anna Street that is beautiful. You can actually see the river and the river turning. And we never take advantage of that. There are things that we can do, I think, as a community to protect our river and to not turn our back on the river and to give our residents some kind of access so they can at least say, I'm sitting by the river, I'm enjoying my river. So I think parks are very important. And I think that you can't just have an open space and say this is a park. You've got to have those skateboards, concrete skateboards that the kids need. You've got to have volleyball courts because that's what they want. And you've got to have access to Wi-Fi. Why? Because parents want to sit there and watch their kids and use the Wi-Fi. And so do kids. So there's a lot of things going on that the residents want, especially lights. I was very worried because at Troutman, which is just across the street from my house, Troutman Park, the kids would come and play basketball, but it was kind of dangerous because they couldn't see very well. And they come in the evening because of our weather. Well, I found a light that illuminates wonderfully. And I got some friends to come and help me put it up. And we put a light, the city let me put up the light. I paid for everything. I paid for the installation, I paid for the light, and we put it on. You should see the illumination now. It's wonderful. I also
Absolutely.
put it on
There's
C-Store
something.
because the neighborhood there, they have a really nice sidewalk, but it was dark. So I said, I'm going to try it here too. And I put it up there. And you know, we need our businesses, our community, and our people that can have a little bit of money here and all that. And I'm not a wealthy person, but I worked all my life. My husband worked all his life. My parents worked all their life. And somebody said something in their mail out, oh, I'm not wealthy. Well, I'm not wealthy either, but I save money and I dedicate money to my community. Why? Because my grandson is here, his friends are here, and I want him to enjoy his Laredo. I want him to enjoy all of this that we've been building and to say, I am proud of Laredo. That's why I do it, Paul.
Absolutely. You know, you said something about skate parks. And I don't remember this because it was a long time ago. You were sitting there. I was called on a say some kids were getting in trouble with police because they went down on a ditch drainage for the skateboard. And they got in trouble. He handcuffed them all. So the next day, I took all the kids to City Hall, and I told them we can't have this type of abuse. We need to skateboard. And I remember Eleo Valdez and Joe Guerra, who rest his soul,
Yes.
and Agregano, as well as yourself and Louis Bruni said, well, we need skate parks, and can we get one done? And we did the one over on this side.
Yes.
And if it was because of a bad incident turned good, now we get the kids going in there better. You know?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I remember that, you know, that that's how it starts. You know, we have to say, you know what, there's a problem here. Let's address the issue. Let's fix it. Let's move forward in life. Okay?
Yes, yes. And it's wonderful when the community comes and says, and comes with a complaint, but they also come in with a solution. That's wonderful. And all the city has to do is figure out a way to fund it. And let me tell you, we have directors that are managing all of these different departments of the city that have a lot of experience and they have a lot of know-how and they know how to bring the money in and how to use the money better so that we can actually start building more things. Lately, I haven't seen a lot of building going on. I haven't seen a lot of projects going on. We have to go back to that. We have to get some activity. And I understand it has to do with the budget and with the COVID, But we've got to be ready, Paul. When everything gets better, we've got to be ready. We've got to have projects. And I know some of these directors are just waiting to do something.
Well, now thinking back, we were actually supposed to be 3 other skate parks built.
Yes.
One over that was in Guerras, and the
Yes.
other one was supposed to have been done over in West Laredo as well. I believe Earl's area. And everybody threw money together through discretionary funds, and it was never done. Maybe now we can say, you know what, this was approved then. Let's get it done now.
Done. Right, let's get it done.
It was approved. Let's not throw that project out. It was approved. Now let's have it done.
Right. No, I think it's very important because that way the citizens can actually see their taxpayers' money being worked. We use taxpayers' money to fix the streets. And if it's not your street, who cares? If not a street that you're driving, who cares? But we've got to give people what they need when they need it, and keep our promises. Keep our promises. And if we don't, we've got to go back and to them and say, look, we can't do this now, but we can do it this time, and then keep our promises. And I guarantee you, I've got the Laredo Realtors Association endorsement as well. So what does that mean? That means that these folks have the confidence in me to grow Laredo properly and to fund their projects as much as the city is involved, because the city has to be involved in development, and we have to set the protocols to move these permits that are sometimes stagnant. And sometimes the businesses say, no, it's too hard to build in Laredo. The permits are, they take too long. I'm not going to build another warehouse. I'm not going to build, another community because it's too hard. We have to take that word hard away, because we do have the expertise in-house to move it along faster, much faster.
Absolutely. Now, Mayor, somebody right now, because the vote is next week, so we need to make sure that we go out and vote. But also campaigns need to move forward. If somebody wishes to help you, how can they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me by calling my cell number or by putting a message on Facebook, Betty Flores for District 7. My cell number is 201-2040, I think. If not, you call my personal cell, 763-3802. I never use a campaign number, so I'm not sure. But it's very important that they call me, 763-3802. And on Facebook, send me a message. But just call me, and I'm everywhere. I try to walk the district. I try to have shout outs. I've had shout outs all along the Mines Road, so people can see me, and so they can see my team of people that work with me. My old campaign manager, Rafael Torres, he's working with me because he's always believed in me. I have very good friends, Rene Gonzalez, Hazel, my daughter, Christina, Goyo Lopez, Goyo Lopez. These are people that really understand their community and give always. They're always giving. My daughter is a teacher. She's a graphic arts designer, and she's always, helping her students. And not only her students, because of this new virtual training now, she's helping her teachers so that they all can teach properly. I've got a husband who owns a ranch from his family, and so I know a little bit about the ranching. He really tries to help, and in fact, the year before last, he got a conservation award because of the work that he's done to conserve water and to conserve their land. So that to me is very important. And every time, Paul, there's a lesson there. My brother served in Vietnam, and when he got out, he saw a lot of the soldiers that came back with pain hooked on drugs. And so he decided to join the Drug Enforcement Administration. He just retired from DEA a few years ago. So I've learned a lot from him about commitment to your country. And I have another brother who's an attorney, and I've learned from him the great need to have great faith, because he is very, very, very involved in his faith. I have a brother who lost his wife at 25 years old. And I learned from him that, you know, until death do us part really does mean that. Through sickness and in death does really mean that. And I have two sisters who found true love, and they've taught me a lot about love. I have a huge Flores family too, you know, because I was Garcia. That was all my Garcia family. And then my Flores family is huge as well. And I'm very, very proud of my Flores family. I'm very proud of my Garcia family. And I'm also very proud of my Lopez family, because I'm Lopez by my mother. And there's a lot of Lopezes in Laredo, as you know. And so, you know, everyone, we've all come from a place where we were, you know, maybe in poverty, but we didn't know that because our families were happy. That's just the way we did. Okay, so we didn't have the best clothes. Okay, so we had to go to Sears and figure out the budget. I remember with my mother, she'd give us a Sears catalog, and we had to pick out the clothes we wanted before school. Everybody got the catalog. And she always made sure that we at least got one thing off that catalog that we wanted, but we didn't get everything. So, you know, Laredo's families, we have to be frugal in order to survive, especially in these times. And that's what
Absolutely.
I really do. You know, the kids on Farias, I saw the kids coming in, and every one of them had to have the temperature check. Every one of them. And they weren't very happy about that porque son chiquitos. So what I did is I've been working with this same company that made the lights. You know, Taiwan had very few illnesses and very few deaths. So I have very good friends and connections in Taiwan. And so I called them and I said, what do you have available that I can bring to the schools here in Laredo? No, because we're dealing with the big schools in California and da-da-da. I said, no. I said, we've been friends for a long time. I want you to get something to Laredo. So they brought some protocols to UISD and to LISD. And I decided to buy one of the cameras for the kids at Farias. Now, all they have to do, Paul, is walk up to the camera. The camera takes their temperature, and it tells them you don't have a mask on if they don't have a mask, but they all do. So they go in, it takes their picture, and it takes their temperature, and they're gone. And I asked them, how do you like that? And they all gave me a thumbs up. So, you know, those are the kinds of things, Paul, that our community needs to do, is to give back where there's need. And sometimes just because our tax dollars are being spent, my husband and I don't have kids in school, but we pay all the city taxes, we pay all the school taxes, and we still give more because that's our community, our children, our future. And I know that that's
Absolutely.
why I'm in this race.
Absolutely. And you
Yeah.
know, like I said, now is the time that right now we need people that are gonna stop Laredo from living in fear and start Laredo moving forward and living and loving Laredo. And that's what,
Yes.
stop living in
Yes.
fear, and start loving Laredo.
Yes, and you know, there's a lot of candidates in my race. I'm number 10, Betty Flores. Everybody watch Betty Flores. I think we're on the last page. But one of the things that surprised me was that the other day during your debate, one of the candidates said, well, I know that at least 6 of the candidates are violating the ethics rule. And my husband is a detective. I was very, very uncomfortable with that comment. And I don't think we need to go there. I think we need to respect everybody and let the chips fall where they may, but not accuse anybody of anything like that. I mean, some of my signs have been stolen. I'm not going to accuse anybody. You did it. The other did it. That's not right. It's respect is very important to me.
No, you're absolutely correct. A dear friend of mine was Judge Morales. You remember?
Yes.
And he used to say every time the rain comes up, he goes, "Paul, out on my face because they're going to paint mustaches and poke my eye." And I laughed because you drive down and you can tell the little kid that drew us that shit, went forward, kept on going. It's going to happen. Kids are kids. They're going to poke the eyes out. It happens. But, we have to be respectful with one another. And we also have to understand that science costs money.
Yes.
And unfortunately, you have some people that think that it's fun or you're winning because bringing down somebody else. You're not doing anything but just harming yourself. And if you get caught, you're going to harm your candidate for doing it. So, that's a way people should just move on forward, and somebody put a sign and somebody else puts a sign next to it. Hey, we live in Laredo. We know everybody. Everybody, the majority of people that are running, and if you get to know the other person there, you still have to see them even after the election. You might run into them. You're not going to have that hateful energy anymore. We all have to live with each other, especially this community.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, I know from what you teach that there is a lot of discipline and there is a lot of respect. And that's why I've admired you for a very long time, because children need to learn that. And sometimes we as adults, we forget to teach them that. And you know how they learn is by what they see. And if we're not being respectful, then they're not going to be respectful. But I appreciate your teachings for that biggest reason. I know it's going to build a lot of other things in their body, but the most important to me is that respect for everybody, and then courage within themselves to love themselves and to understand that they can contribute very well. So I just, this community is going through very, very difficult times right now. And it's hard to concentrate on the good things that we have, but I think it's the only time that we should, of all the times in our lives, is concentrate on the good things in our lives, because this disease is deadly. Hopefully the government will help us get a hold of it, that we get a vaccine very quickly. But that doesn't mean that the hurt from people that have lost children, that have lost parents, that have lost grandparents, tíos, tías, that doesn't mean that the hurt's going to go away. There's no vaccine for hurt. And so we have to pray for those people. And in Laredo, people, I know people that I say, why? But only God knows. And we have to pray that everyone in Laredo stays safe, that we have no more deaths, and that those people in the hospital are well taken care of, because we do have a wonderful community of healthcare providers, nurses out there that are just working so hard, and doctors, who knows, and everybody in between. So I think we have a community that is full of love, and we just have to remind ourselves, because of the many, many things that have been pushed against us, especially the job losses. Paul, that has to hurt. I mean, think about it. And
you said hurt. And number one, I want to tell you, thank you for the kind words that you said about the teaching here and what we do. But I want to say another thing that you got in, and you said you have to care for the other, because we can't question when our time is up. Right. There's a big book up heaven, and when your name gets called, doesn't matter if you're playing golf, doesn't matter if it's a Christmas party, doesn't matter if you're driving, does not matter. They call your name and you go, and that's just the way it is. right now and quote, live life. We have to live life every day to the fullest. Love our neighbors, be nice to one another. And if you can't do, just smile and wait and just keep on waiting, you know? But to be hate and to have hate and to continue with that hate and to cultivate, we cannot.
You're very right. You're right on target. I apologize for my dog barking.
So, Mayor, we're running out of time.
Well-
No problem. We're out of time. I want to thank you again for standing up. And folks, next Tuesday, early vote starts. Research each and every candidate. Call them up. Make sure you go exercise your vote. The Webb County Elections Administration have done a great job. The governors give us an extra week for early vote. There's no excuse for you not to vote.
That's right. And early voting is the easiest because you just go to one location. You don't have to be looking for your, precinct location. So just go to early voting here on Del Mar, the fire station. They've always opened it up and it's just so beautiful. So I think we can do a lot of things with that. And early voting is very, very important. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mayor, you have a good day. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Folks, peace.
For 30 years, Buitron Academy has produced great fighters, peace officers, firemen, and many great citizens of Laredo. We teach various martial arts, savate, kempo, capoeira, each in their own traditions, trajectory, history, and pedagogy. Buitron Academy is the first school of savate in the United States, the first capoeira movement in Texas, the first kempo school in Laredo. What will one expect to see at Buitron Academy? Respect, fellowship, coordination, skill, and self-defense. Buitron Academy is located at 220 West Hillside Road.
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Hello, how are you? My name is Celestino Marina. I'm running for City Council, District 5, and I would like your support. Together, we will win. Thank you.
Hi Laredo, this is Carlos Perez. I'm running for Laredo College Board of Trustees Place 8. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CG Perez RLC. I look forward to gaining your support this campaign season and earning your vote November 3rd. Thank you.
Laredo College needs a leader, an educator with a vision to move forward for a positive change. This is why, as your candidate, I want accessible education, and most importantly, I want to listen to your concerns as a stakeholder, students, faculty, staff, and taxpayers. It's time for education over politics.
Vote Justin Hunts-Nusher Casiano for Laredo College Board, Place 7.
Hi, I'm Amber Avis Hinojosa, ready to change the direction of District 8. As a resident and business owner in the heart of the community, I know the pressing issues at hand. It's time to realize the potential in this district. Join me in the fight to bring change.
Vote Amber Avis Hinojosa for City Council District 8. The future of our district is in our hands.